All right, all right. Welcome, welcome. Let me know if in the chat you can hear me and see me all good. And let's have an amazing session today. How's it going, Bill? How's it going, John, James? Happy Monday. Can you guys hear me and see me all good? We'll give it a few moments for everybody to hop on. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let's break down the crypto markets for the week. Can you guys hear me and see me? Give me a 1 in the chat. All right, we got Charlie, we got Dwight. Oh, beautiful. Okay, good. Let me know if there's any sound or quality issues. Good morning from SC. I'm over here in cloudy Las Vegas. A little interesting, but I'll take it because it's hotter than a furnace. All right, who else do we have on here? Jamie, welcome. Zoe, welcome. Let me know where you're tuning in from. We'll start diving into the crypto markets, and the whole goal of this call is to prepare us for the week. Oh, there we go. Another toasty spot, Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome, welcome. How's everybody's crypto journey going? Really crazy end of the month. Last month, we'll talk a lot about that today and give you guys some context there. But a lot of exciting stuff in crypto. We'll talk about some of the platform, make sure everybody's clear there. Let's give it about 1 more minute or so and we will get started. Let's see who else we have on here. All right, we got Aaron. Welcome, welcome. So cool thing is it looks like we're going to have a guest next Monday on this call, which will be really cool. This is a potential crypto billionaire on the call, and very much thanks to Aaron for setting this up. And for anybody who also knows people who are very deep into the crypto space and want to potentially have them come on and talk about their journey, what they're doing, what they're working on, definitely let me know and we can set something up. So next week's call should be really exciting. To have a crypto billionaire on this call be really cool. Very rare to find these kind of folks. Usually the whole goal of crypto is once you get to these levels, you kind of a lot of us are looking to be, off the grid, right? So really cool stuff. Okay, let's see who else hopped on here. All right, Igor, welcome, brother. Super awesome to have you on here. So before we dive in, let's just do a quick disclaimer. Please note that nothing on this call is financial advice. Everything is for education purposes only. Do know that trading does involve risk. And if you do take any trades, please do so at your own risk or consult with a qualified financial advisor. Okay, let's dive in. Let's touch on the platform really quick for those who are new. So we're going to dive in and just kind of break down the structure here that I have right now. And I'm always looking to improve and all this good stuff. So any feedback is welcome. Feel free to message me. But right now I have a group that's open up to the public. It's called the Crypto Mastery Collective. Pretty straightforward, but you'll have your daily crypto news feed. Anything pertinent to crypto, I'll have kind of an end of the day feed that I just kind of paste in here every day, which is nice. Hopefully it's a one-stop shop to get your crypto news. Also, any pertinent crypto news that I want to post specifically, I will post there every single day. Also, your daily market breakdowns and market updates to get an idea of the total market. It's usually going to be more high level, like what's happening to Bitcoin, Ethereum, the total crypto market. Also, you'll see some of our case studies. What we do here in the VIP is we learn different chart patterns, learn different breakouts, different strategies, and really we use these to grow our skill set in these markets. You can look at some of these breakdowns in the altcoin highlights. And of course, we have our State of Crypto Weekly. They will be posted, and all the recordings will be posted here after each call. I have a bunch of free trainings and resources, how to set up your wallets, wallet safety. We have a nice journal in here that you can use, how to set up a crypto trading plan, crypto research guides, on-chain cheat sheets. We have some how to set up a crypto exchange, how to set up a crypto wallet, walking through TradingView, how to spot whale wallets while using basically meme coin scanning, and a bunch of other resources. In the community feed, don't feel shy. You can post in this feed any crypto news, anything pertinent, typing in your wins, what you're learning, your lessons. And then after that, we can go towards the VIP membership, which is much more along the lines of getting coached in this space. So coaching on your processes. And for those of you who want to become more of a professional level at this, we have weekly check-ins to understand your skills. And for those of my VIPs, please today go in and do your weekly check-in. I have a template here so we can all know, or at least for me as your coach, know what page you guys are on. We have VIP masterminds where I coach you guys directly for as long as it takes. We have different trading tactics that I break down and are uploaded here. For example, understanding how to compare crypto versus crypto rather than crypto versus dollars. More altcoin studies and project deep dives. For example, we looked at HBAR last week. Really powerful project. Also have my entire university in here. We have, let's see here if I can actually see it, 139 lessons of everything I know in crypto. Trade journal and lessons, posting your trade journals in here. I can audit any strategies. We do weekly assignments and really just grow together. So if you are looking for that next level mentorship, that is in the VIP. So let me know if you guys have any questions there. And on that note, we will go ahead and get rocking. And guys, feel free to invite any of your crypto enthusiasts to these calls, because my goal is on these calls to give you guys a state of crypto. So let's go ahead and dive in. So let's talk about some of the new implementations in crypto, especially on the policy side. So the SEC chair, Paul Atkins, is looking to make a call to reshore crypto, as they want the companies that are creating cryptocurrencies that left the US, because the US was enforcing crypto or regulating crypto by enforcement. They are now wanting to bring those crypto companies back on shore, which is incredibly powerful, showing that the stance is now shifting to much more pro-crypto. So this is something to where maybe you want to work in Web3, you want to get involved in the blockchain. There's going to be a lot more jobs coming up here for crypto companies to actually want to hire again. Coinbase has a ton of job listings right now. You can start to see, and you will be seeing more and more. And also you'll be seeing more and more crypto companies making more partnerships in the United States and growing in the United States. So really powerful stuff to have a push to actually reshore the jobs on crypto, because the government stance right now is they want the US to actually be the crypto capital of the world. So really cool. And kind of on similar news, the SEC is rolling out what they call Project Crypto, and they want to rewrite the rules for digital assets. So let's go ahead and look down here a little bit. So they want to establish clear regulations for digital assets in the United States. Let's see here. And they're looking at easing licensing rules, allowing for multiple asset class or instruments to be offered by brokerages under a single license, while also creating clear market structure, separating commodities, which most cryptocurrencies fall under, from securities. So they're looking actually to make a lot of these cryptocurrencies listed under commodities. This is huge. Regulatory exemptions or grace period should be offered to early stage crypto projects. And this was the hardest thing. I've worked on a few crypto projects. This was very difficult because literally just a year or two ago, if you worked on a crypto project, your odds of going to jail were high. Really crazy, right? Just like starting a business and being part of a new innovation, people were getting thrown in jail left and right, getting sued, getting shut down, getting fined because of just trying to be an entrepreneur. It was very, very challenging because there was no regulatory clarity. And also they're looking for exemptions to make sure that, even that the rules aren't that clear, you don't get screwed over because of that stuff, which is cool. And of course, there's bad actors in the space and all that good stuff. We want to make sure that people are doing things ethically, but also, protecting entrepreneurs is critical. So allow these projects enough room to innovate without crushing them under the weight of the fear of reprisal by the SEC. That's exactly how it was. It was very, very brutal. Okay. So really, really powerful stuff. Let's see here, John. So read that JP Morgan Chase was agreeing to tie bank accounts to crypto. Won't this take away the anonymity? Yes. So crypto is what we call pseudo anonymous. Typically, there's ways to be decently anonymous with crypto, and there's also ways to be not anonymous. So if you are putting any of your crypto in a centralized system, it's obviously going to be less anonymous, but there's ways to separate cryptocurrencies. You can have certain accounts that are more just your own ledger, and you can also have certain accounts that are in corporate accounts or in centralized accounts. Really good question. And the truth about crypto, crypto is not that anonymous. So that's one thing that I think people. There are privacy coins. Those are, I think, the main way that crypto is anonymous. But it's really easy if you go to cash ever, or if you use cash and go to crypto. If it's through any sort of exchange, you're kind of not anonymous from the get-go. So it's actually kind of difficult to be fully anonymous in crypto. You have to do things very, very much a certain way. Great question. So a really cool report that just came out, or an insight from Deloitte, one of the big four accounting firms. Crypto is gaining currency with North American CFOs. Kind of a witty headline, but it's looking that 1 in 4, so 25% of surveyed chief financial officers say that their financial functions will be using digital currency within 2 years. So is crypto set to take off in the corporate world? So pretty cool. 1 in 4 CFOs are looking to that in the next 2 years, they're going to be using cryptocurrencies. So in the first figure, they're noticing that price volatility is the biggest barrier right now to crypto adoption. This could be where stable coins could be a big piece of the puzzle. But let's see what else. Complexities around controls, lack of regulation, security, lack of internal expertise, liquidity, tax considerations, and pretty much others. So those are some of the barriers right now for corporates to get into cryptocurrency. Let's see. How do they expect crypto to improve customer privacy and cross-border transactions? So that's pretty much a big one. Enhance protection of customer privacy. So there we go. A little bit of privacy there. Improve facilitation of cross-border transaction, attracting new customers, faster transactions, eliminating chargebacks, lower processing fees, greater payment volumes. Those are some of the benefits that these companies are looking for when it comes to cryptocurrencies. So CFOs say the business case for crypto goes beyond investments and payments. So here's some unique use cases like VeChain for supply chain tracking, cross-border transactions, it's like XRP, hedging, classic trading stuff, capital raising, payroll like Quant, using programmable money. So really, really cool stuff. Let's see here. Finance chiefs are already talking to the board about crypto. CIOs are, board of directors, treasurers, lenders and banks, internal audits, third-party payment vendors, and audit committees are talking about crypto. So pretty cool. This is a very, very unique year for crypto, especially in the US, being very, very pro-crypto. So now let's get into some of the macro side of things. This was a very interesting end of the month here for crypto. And awesome for more folks joining on here. Welcome, welcome. So let me see where we should start here. Let's actually go to the interest rate. So the big thing to always watch out for, especially if you're looking for the potential appreciation for assets, are interest rates. We can't see it right now, but last interest rate decision, there was no change. But right now if we're looking at the CME Group FedWatch tool, it's basically showing us the target rate possibilities. And this is for the next interest rate decision at September 17th. And we can see right now, this has been very volatile. Right now, the current interest rates are at 4.25 to 4.5%. And in this next rate decision, there's an 87% chance that the interest rates are going to now finally drop down to about 4% to 4.25%. And if we look at this target rate forecast, right now it's at 87%. A day ago, it was at 80. 1 week ago, it was at 60. And I think it actually went even lower as the interest rate decision was being made. So we're now seeing a higher probability for the target rate to actually come down, which is an expansionary function of I believe it's monetary policy, right? I believe it's monetary policy. And that usually is very bullish for the markets. And really what made this change is this non-farm payrolls data right here. So if we kind of look at this non-farm payrolls data, and for those of you who don't know, the Fed basically has two mandates. They want to keep inflation low, and they want to keep unemployment low. Inflation low, unemployment low. And if we're looking at non-farm payrolls, which is basically jobs, we're looking at these jobs numbers. We have April 2025, May 2025, June 2025, July 2025, August 2025. We're seeing these numbers starting to come down. And if these numbers become low, there's actually a higher likelihood that interest rates start to come down, or the Fed decides to lower the interest rates. So there's a pretty bad jobs number that came in. So the forecast was 110,000 jobs, and the actual was 73,000 jobs. So pretty low there. And let's see here. If I look at this report here on the Kobayashi letter, let's see here. It says, what's happening here? The gap between non-farm payrolls and the household survey was a massive 333,000 jobs in July. So the Friday jobs report showed that basically 73,000 jobs were added last month. Meanwhile, according to the household survey, 260,000 Americans lost their jobs in July, one of the largest monthly declines since 2020, which was the pandemic. So we are seeing one of the largest declines in, declines in jobs or lost jobs since the pandemic, which could be very significant when it comes to what the interest rates might do. So that's kind of the saving grace for interest rates. If you guys want to kind of think on what could cause interest rates to actually come down, it's really the jobs market could be that key. And feel free to ask questions as we go along here. I know I move a little bit quickly, but we can always pause and come back. All right, just like John was saying, there was a huge partnership between JP Morgan Chase and Coinbase. And what they're doing is they're going to link bank accounts with crypto accounts. Users will be able to enable direct bank to wallet connections, which is crazy, right? When we got into crypto, it was kind of like, when is that integration between traditional finance and decentralized finance going to marry? Right now, we're seeing this merriment potentially happen. So enabling direct bank to wallet connections, customers will be able to transfer Chase rewards to their Coinbase account, really wild stuff, and use Chase credit cards to fund their Coinbase balances for the first time. So direct bank to wallet link is going to be very interesting to see. Maybe this is the tipping point where traditional banks are going to start connecting with, or traditional banks are going to become crypto banks, really. Imagine depositing XRP or Bitcoin into Bank of America or US Bank. Very, very crazy stuff there. All right. And just a little note here on Watch Your Guru. The SEC, Paul Atkins, says that Wall Street and Silicon Valley companies are lined up our doors with requests to tokenize, meaning that they want to get into the cryptocurrency space as well. So Main Street is looking to get into DeFi big time. Okay, I'll pause there for any questions. Let me know if you guys have any questions on what we just went over in terms of kind of the outlay of crypto right now. And then we can start looking into the markets. Is Coinbase talking with another big bank? I'm not sure. Not sure, but I definitely believe that all the banks are talking crypto right now. All right, let's look at some high level overviews. But yeah, if you find out it was another bank, definitely let us know. The Fear and Greed Index at neutral. That's a decent place to be. You know, being at neutral, we're not overheated, we're not super oversold, so pretty neutral. Altcoin season index. We're sitting right in the middle as well between Bitcoin season and altcoin season. Still stuck a little bit into Bitcoin season. And let's see here. We're looking at the crypto ETF net flows. Looks like there was definitely a little bit of an outflow back at the end of the month with that interest rate stuff. So for those of you who didn't watch the Fed meeting, basically Jerome Powell was not very dovish, which means pro decreasing the interest rates. He was kind of still hawkish tone, saying, hey, we're going to keep rates steady as long as the data shows us, you know, otherwise, or as long as the data doesn't show us otherwise. But if we do look into some of these ETF flows, see if we just go to the ETH ETF, there's definitely been increased flows into the ETH ETFs. There's actually a lot of crypto treasury companies being created right now. We have Bitcoin crypto treasury companies like MicroStrategy, MetaPlanet, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And then also we are seeing ETH treasury companies start to come in. Let's just look at a few. So there are some public companies that are incorporating ETH into their balance sheet. So we have Bitmine Immersion Technologies, their ETH holdings over 2.9 billion. SharpLink Gaming, this one's pretty popular right now. SharpLink made substantial investments in ETH, holding almost $1 billion worth of ETH. Coinbase, Bit Digital, the Ether Machine is pending, a new ETH treasury company. GameSquare is another one. So the question is, are we about to see more and more altcoins essentially become treasury assets for companies? Very, very interesting stuff. I think it was the CEO of Bitwise talking about really the next step that he thinks is going to be a trend for I guess the short term is these crypto treasury companies. This is also Main Street or Wall Street getting into the Web3 space as well. Okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions on that stuff. Hopefully that's helpful. For those of you who don't know as well, the Genius Act just got passed, so now there's going to be frameworks for stable coins. The Crypto Clarity Act just needs to be signed by the Senate, I believe. Then it moves to Trump's desk, and that is going to bring clarity into who regulates cryptocurrency, whether it's the SEC, the CFTC, or a third regulatory body. Okay. We'll give it a second if anybody has any questions or want me to go over anything specifically on the fundamental side. And if not, we will dive into the technicals. All right, let's dive in. Okay, so what we're looking at right here is the total crypto market. It's the index for cryptocurrency. This is a great index to use to see what direction is the overall market trending. Is it trending upwards? Is it trending downwards? Is it moving sideways? Is there key structure in the way? Are there key moving averages, indicators? Is there good volume? These are all really powerful things to look at because you can actually get a zoomed out view of the total market. Because if you're looking to go long, say in the crypto market, and the market is trending downwards, that would not be a very good probably time to be long, net long in the market. Or vice versa, if you're looking to get short and the market is in this nice uptrend, that might be, an issue depending on your time frame. So what we're looking at here is the 2025 crypto market by market cap. And you can see this market cycle. Here's the 2025 high. We're basically the end of 2024, but December 2024, January 2025. Here's the high. The market created this nice cup base and recently broke out of the highs of the cup base and fell back into the neckline. Reason why is most likely because the market was bullish on the interest rate environment. And then right at the end of the month, also the end of the month, a lot of contracts roll over and are closed. But Powell was hawkish on the interest rates, and the market has kind of fell down after that. But we are seeing that there's a high chance that interest rates are now going to be cut, kind of a flip-flop. And we're actually seeing the market potentially recover. We'll go into that in a second here. But I just want to compare the market cycles really quick. Let's go on a little bit of a higher time frame and show you guys some perspective here. Okay, give me 1 second here. Just so they look congruent. Okay. This one got deleted for some reason. Boom. Okay. All right, here's the 2022-2023 market cycle. Let's just call this 2023 and keep it simple. So one thing you're going to want to do is, especially as a technical analyst, is start to understand these market cycles and how they shape up, right? And since crypto is not really supported by like a bunch of DCAs institutionally, it works in parabolas, right? You see these cup bases. After the market gets out of these bases, we often see these extensions to new highs, right? We see these nice extensions to the upside. We see these nice cup bases. After the cup base is broken, we often see extensions to the upside. Then we have a cup base here, and not an extension yet to the upside. We actually have a little bit of a fake out of this first cup breakout here. Not the same as these last ones, which is a little bit interesting. Also, if we take the 2024 market cycle, we just have a measurement here from the base of the cycle to the neckline. If I copy and paste, it's not any guarantee or anything like that, but you'll see here that the market broke out pretty much exactly the distance from cup base to neckline. That was the extension projection. And I wonder if I have it in here. And here we go. If we were to do the same thing on our 2025 crypto market cycle, now that we do see a little bit of a breakout here, if we see an equal measured move, that would take the crypto market up to about $5 trillion. So we'll have to see if that does actually happen, and we see the next extension. Also, another thing to note is potentially the time frame. So let me just put some numbers on here. Let's make this purple as well. So the last market extension here, and I don't really believe in time frames too much, but we'll notice that it was a 30-day breakout. Once the market broke out from the 2024 market cycles, it was 36 days, basically a little over a month that the market projected to the upside. If we do the same measurement, oops. There we go, 36 days. If we get that same move, that would take the market high to August 2020. I'm sorry, August 20th, 2025. But I mean, if interest rates change, if there's a big macro differential, I'm not sure how relevant that's going to be, but this is good data to note. Does have a long way to go and not too long of a time though. Let me know if you guys have questions there. All right, let's dive a little bit into some market structure. Okay, if we're looking at the 2025 crypto market cycle, even though there was this breakout failure to the upside, the next question is where could the potential support be in this market? So we can see here, there's the prior all-time high, the market broke down, and then had its next attempt to make another high, failed, where this whale engaged very strong again and brought the market to its bottom. This could be a key support level where it was a key resistance level, potentially flipping into key support around $3.58 trillion. This orange line kind of representing that key resistance. Could this be resistance flipping into key support? It's kind of like some high level support, potentially all the way back here. If the market doesn't hold at this level, the next consolidation before a bullish breakout was down here between 3.37 trillion and 3.19 trillion. So I could see a case if the crypto market does not actually rally from this level, that it could maybe find support a little bit lower. So we'll have to see if the market can actually break above its major cycle neckline. And the market's opening pretty bullish on this Monday. So Sunday market open, pretty bullish, and the Monday market open, pretty bullish as well. I would like to see the market get above $3.74 trillion. That was the prior high back up here, for the market to essentially look like it's regaining the footing that it had. So let me know if you guys have questions there. Okay, we can dive into Bitcoin and look at something potentially similar. Bitcoin, this is its 2025 market cycle as well. We have this cup formation, we have this handle, we have this breakout. We have the equal measured move that would actually take Bitcoin up to around $144,000. Bitcoin was creating this bullish flag pattern, but actually started to break to the downside a little bit. Not much structure here for Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is actually moving back into the bullish flag pattern, which is a little bit interesting. Maybe we're going to see Bitcoin start to gain footing back inside that pattern. And if Bitcoin looks anything like its prior market cycle, the 2024 market cycle, from its breakout to its next peak was about 75 days, and it made it above an equal measured move. The market broke out. This is the equal measured move. Came further than that. So just using an equal measured move on the 2025 market cycle, that would take Bitcoin up to around $144,000. And if history repeats itself for the 75-day run, that would take Bitcoin's run out to about September 22nd. So a little bit of a forecast there, but these are just, they're not guarantees, but these are the projections using past cycle data. Let me know if you guys have questions there. Still, the market's looking relatively bullish for Bitcoin. The overall crypto market potentially looking bullish, especially if it can get back above this prior all-time high for the market. And that would just basically be a big fake out for the market, because market getting bullish on interest rates, potentially a theory, right? Then getting bearish because of Powell being hawkish, and now getting bullish again because of those interest rates. And if I could tell you how correlated these markets are to interest rates, it's scary. Literally, the 2021 bear market back here in November was simply right in tandem, where the market decided, or the Fed decided, that they're going to start increasing interest rates, and then the market had its risk off cycle. Okay. Let's look at ETH now. ETH is really interesting looking. So let's go ahead and zoom out on ETH here on a weekly time frame. Okay, here we go. We have Ethereum, pretty choppy, right? But ETH is actually, this is a quadruple top for ETH here, around, let's just round this up to $4,000. And I really like to look at ETH in terms of altcoins, right? Usually the market cycle goes Bitcoin, ETH, major altcoins, mid caps, meme coins, right? So we've seen Bitcoin make big extensions to new highs, but what about ETH? ETH has still not done it. It's still kind of sitting sideways. So if ETH can actually break through that 4K level, get a nice close above the 4K level, maybe that would be a confirmed breakout. And if we, this maybe looks bearish, but also you could maybe invert this chart. To me, that's looking a little more if we invert it, bearish, right, or bullish. We have this huge cup with handle. For ETH. If you guys can kind of see that. So that would be pretty nuts to see ETH finally break through this. And like we're seeing, there's ETH treasury companies right now. We haven't had that before. So likely we are going to see that do something different to ETH, right? And likely on the bullish side. So this chart, to me, it looks pretty bearish, right? Descending triangle, and that is an inverted chart, so that means bullish. But we'll have to see. Obviously, we are seeing a rejection here. That fourth rejection, we'll have to see how ETH might recover to potentially print back above that 4K at some point. Are we going to see something like that? And if we see ETH ripping, that's going to be a big cue for alt season. Another one to look into is Bitcoin dominance. Start to look at our Bitcoin dominance chart, showing what percent of the market, or is Bitcoin dominating the market, or are altcoins dominating the market? Bitcoin dominance still in its major macro uptrend. If this major trend line here, basically a 2-year trend line, gets broken, that could be a big potential area where we could see alt season. Also, Bitcoin dominance did break down just a little bit, but is still holding its major macro uptrend. So definitely going to want to be careful when it comes to Bitcoin. A chart that I really like to look at that'll show, are altcoins bleeding to Bitcoin, or is Bitcoin actually bleeding to alts, is actually if we do total 2, which is the total crypto market excluding Bitcoin, which is the altcoin, divided by Bitcoin USD. Okay. Total 2 divided by Bitcoin USD. And we can see here that since November 2022, this is the altcoin high against Bitcoin, but altcoins have been bleeding against Bitcoin since November 2022. And we can see here, still rejection, right? Rejection, but maybe soon we are going to see this trend line, this major trend line, broken to the upside and actually seeing altcoins start to outperform Bitcoin. But basically just being long on Bitcoin since November 2022 would have been pretty solid for the overall market in that longer term projection. If we look back here during the 2018 bull market, same thing, altcoins bleeding to Bitcoin. Then we do see a breakout, and eventually we get this huge parabolic altcoin run from basically COVID 2020 all the way to the top of 2021. Imagine if we were that early in this market, which could be pretty crazy to think about. If we actually see a full-on run, how long was this? Let's actually do a time measurement. So let's look at the breakout. Let's take this candle here to its highs. That is 742 days where altcoins start to outperform Bitcoin. Could we see something similar where altcoins start outperforming Bitcoin all the way into 2027? I think doubtful. Bitcoin's kind of its own reserve asset these days, but who knows? Kind of some similarities. Some people are saying the 4-year cycle is over. Wall Street's getting into the Web3 space. Could this change the game to where cryptocurrency is not going to have these cool cycles anymore? It's going to be more of that next asset class that bleeds into our overall financial system. Let me know if you guys have questions. And hopefully this is valuable stuff. I know not everybody's gonna, this is a lot, but the key is to just soak it in like a sponge. All right, I see. Yep, yep. I mean, who knows, Igor? It's things are changing. The landscape is definitely changing. The one thing that's very interesting too is interest rates, right? Interest rates are still high. Let's just take a look at a few things here on interest rates even. Let's look at the total crypto market. Actually, let's go to a blank chart here. If we look at the total crypto market, and we overlay interest rates, look at this. The last time interest rates were high, that was kind of the bottom of the market, right? We see interest rates high up here. Interest rates were climbing. That's the bottom of the market. As interest rates dropped, that's where the market started to become parabolic. Now over here, the crypto market is high, right? It's already pretty bid up high, but interest rates are also still high. If interest rates start to lower, could we see these markets still continue to gain ground? It's a little bit of a different game. But that's there's many factors that could come into play there. All right, another one we can look at is ETH versus Bitcoin. Just very simply, we can see ETH starting to kind of break out against Bitcoin. But if we do draw our major trend line, ETH does have a little ways to go to actually flip this trend line. Its more near-term trend line has been broken to the upside for ETH versus Bitcoin. Okay, I think that is all I want to go over on the macro side before we look into some altcoins. So let's go and look into some altcoins. Let me know if you guys have any specific altcoins you'd like me to go over. The one I want to focus on today is XRP. So earlier, our students here, we were looking at this bullish pennant for XRP. You can kind of see this bullish pennant. There was a nice flag pull, and then you have your pennant, and then we were looking at that pennant breakout right here. And from that breakout, the market moved up about 58%. And since then, we can see this is the prior high for XRP. Right here, that's the prior all-time high. The market did the same thing as every coin right now. They did this fake out, came above these all-time highs, and then fell back in, likely because of the interest rate decision. But also something that we can see here for XRP is this nice cup base now. We are actually seeing this base start to form out. We have our lows turning into flat and now turning into higher lows. And we do have a falling wedge pattern right now for XRP at the right-hand side of this base. So the question might be, are we actually going to see a breakout of this falling wedge pattern for XRP? Is it going to eventually break back above its major cup formation? If it does, we could do a little a little measurement here, get maybe an equal measured move projection. They're not guarantees by any means, but we can use them for our analysis. Okay. Where could this potentially take XRP to? If the market does break out, that would be a measured move to about $5, which could be pretty cool if that is the case off of this base formation, this cup base formation. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions on XRP. And for those of you, following wedges are bullish formations, bullish pennants, clearly bullish formations as well. Let's see other projects that we want to look at. I think one to look at right now is Bonk. So Bonk had a very bullish breakout out of this cup with handle formation. It broke out on heavy volume right here. It broke out on some really heavy volume. Also, really large volume buildup on the right-hand side for my technical folks. Very, very picture perfect. Had about a 66% breakout from that level and was forming a very bullish formation, a bullish pennant formation. Now, the biggest thing, I really love this formation, and what happened is it didn't break out bullish. So new traders often think that the pattern itself means that the breakout must happen. It can be a bullish pattern, but if you don't get a bullish breakout, it doesn't matter if it was a bullish pattern. So really good failure of a pattern. Also a very easy short target on Bonk. And Bonk, here's our little neckline right here. We can just draw it over here. Bonk is still respecting that neckline. So for traditional technical analysts, when a pattern is broken, like this cup with handle pattern, when a pattern is broken, if the breakout level is respected, the pattern typically is still valid. It's definitely is more valid than if the market comes into the pattern. So Bonk is actually holding some relative strength, even when the market is coming back to that neckline. So pretty interesting there. So if we contrast that with, say, something like Solana, which had a breakout failure. So here's another altcoin study we were looking at. Solana, same exact pattern as Bonk, right? We have this nice cup with handle formation. We have a breakout on heavy volume. Actually, beautiful, gorgeous breakout. Bullish engulfing, bullish engulfing. The market comes back to the neckline and starts to break below that neckline, which is actually a sign of weakness. Could come back above the neckline and actually pull down into its structure. So this is a textbook pattern failure to some degree, right? In my opinion, it is, because even the handle equal measured move, even the handle equal measured move here, if we just go and paste that in, not even close. Not even close. So really interesting there. Most likely it's a systematic thing. It's a macro thing, right? Obviously the chart looks really good. Just the market pulled back really on that macro news. Let me know any questions you guys have there. And after that, I will open it up to questions. We got 10 minutes left here, or 8 minutes left. I'll open up to any questions for you guys, or any charts that you'd like me to look at, and hopefully you found this session valuable. And also, anything that you'd like to see on future sessions, I'm completely all ears. Actually, I'll show you guys one more. Like, Here we go. Same thing. This is the kind of stuff that we study as a group here for you guys who are new. Pengu. Pengu had a very nice cup with handle formation, broke out on huge volume, and then had 172% move to the upside. So this is how you guys got to study this stuff, because it's going to give you extraordinary insights into trading, into analysis. Is you can start to spot patterns, you can start to understand patterns, you can also understand, so maybe you only traded Sol, and you said, Sol failed, so a cup with handle pattern doesn't work. That's not necessarily true. Bonk had a great move, 66% move out of that cup with handle. Pengu had 172% move out of the cup with handle. Syrup had a 266% move out of a cup with handle. So this is where being rigorous and studying is super, super helpful. And my biggest goal as a coach, as a mentor in the space, is to teach concepts that help you become, the trader and investor that you want to become. Looking at MYX, I'm actually not sure what MYX is. So glad you're liking the session, Zoe. And for you guys who are new here, Zoe's absolutely crushing it. She actually spotted out positions that I was going to show before I even showed them. Like Solana, she spotted Solana even before we got onto the call. Really cool stuff. So it's awesome to see learning like that. So let's look at MYX. Holy moly, look at MYX. Not sure if you caught that, Zoe, but that looks great, right? You have this ascending triangle formation. Very nice on that, right? Nice ascending triangle formation, or you can say a wedge formation. Breakout on volume for that wedge. Nice close above, and the market ripped. Something must have happened here. Some major fundamental. That MYX had that big support. So some things I would be looking at as a trader or an investor at this, clearly, MYX is vertical, very extended. There's no structure besides all the way down here. The earliest structure for MYX right now is a 65% drop. So definitely something to consider. Did you have any questions on MYX, Zoe? There's the breakout. There's the pattern. High volume right here. And follow through volume with obviously follow through price action. And this is why, crypto is so great, because you do find these ever so often where the market moves substantially. That can help your account. You can easily go to risk free, right? Trailing your stop losses. Really good stuff. Okay. All right, last thing I'll share before we hop off, if you guys don't have any questions, is one chart that I'm quite interested in right now is H-bar versus Bitcoin. H-bar just got listed on Robinhood. We did a deep dive in H-bar in our VIP group. Really, really powerful stuff. But looking at H-bar, H-bar versus Bitcoin. We're actually seeing a big inverse head and shoulders pattern for H-bar versus Bitcoin. So let me go ahead and mark this up. And when you see a project potentially gaining appreciation on another project, especially Bitcoin, that could be substantial to some degree, right? We're seeing potentially that there's a inverse head and shoulders breakout here for H-bar versus Bitcoin. So if this continues, somehow H bar can get back above that trend line. Oh, sorry, I didn't even draw that correctly. Actually, that looks pretty good. H bar can continue. That means H bar is actually gaining on Bitcoin. And if you start to look at a lot of the Bitcoin pairs, not many cryptocurrencies are gaining on Bitcoin right now. Starting to see volume heat up on the right-hand side too. So maybe we're starting to see something happen here with H bar. So for example, if we look at Solana versus Bitcoin, not the same. Solana is still trending downwards via Bitcoin. H bar is trending upwards almost. How do you think the treasuries are going to affect the crypto market? I think it's going to be extremely bullish for the crypto market. Obviously, ETH treasuries are going crazy. I could see Solana treasuries popping up, but also I think it's going to be the bubble for the market. I think that could be a very big bubble. It's like a leveraged play on crypto. These treasury companies are issuing debt to buy cryptocurrency. So as long as the market's going up, it's awesome. It's a levered play on crypto. But when crypto crashes and say these treasury companies get very levered, it could be the bubble that pops the market. But to better and for worse, right? Anything that creates the bubble, that's the ride up. But also the bubble often pops. I think treasury companies could be an easy bubble for this market. I'm sure we're going to see crazy stuff. When you start seeing like, I don't know, like Dogecoin treasuries and Pop-Tart Cat treasuries and Trump coin treasuries, that's probably going to be where the top is coming in. A little bit of a bubble. But we're early still, really, really early. Alrighty. So that brings us to the end of the session. I appreciate you guys tremendously for hopping on. Feel free to invite your friends if you did find this valuable. I'll be doing this every single week for free for at least the foreseeable future on Wednesdays so that you guys can get a good update on this market. Definitely feel free to come in with any questions. And if you do want to get deeper coaching, just let me know and we can talk about next steps in coming into our VIP mentorship. All right, appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the chats. Let's keep grinding crypto. It's looking pretty interesting with interest rates, no pun intended, potentially coming down here in September. If that number, you guys, is the final takeaway. If that number, the probability for interest rates coming down is solid coming into September, I think the markets are going to be very bullish because of that. All right, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the chats, and I'll see you guys next week. Let's keep crushing it. Peace.